Welcome to our Mr. Hilarious channel. Get ready to feel the thrill with scary stories and mysteries that will get your heart racing. Don't forget to subscribe for more horror stories. Griffith Park in Los Angeles holds many mystical stories that make it one of the creepiest places in the city. That night, a group of curious friends decided to take a hike in the park, even though they knew about the legendary curse that was said to have haunted the park for decades. They approached the old ruins near the old zoo, a place said to be the center of supernatural activity in Griffith Park. As the night draws in, the air suddenly feels colder, and the wind blowing sounds like a faint whisper calling their names. The tension began to build when one of them saw a large shadow in the distance. It passed quickly between the trees, but there was no sound of footsteps following it. When they tried to illuminate the shadow with a flashlight, the figure simply disappeared, as if dissolved in darkness. However, the atmosphere became even more tense when one of their friends suddenly fell silent while pointing to the sky. When the others looked up, they saw something that made their blood freeze. Up there hovered a hazy figure, with blank eyes that seemed to stare directly into their souls. They panicked and quickly fled the park. Their steps were quickened by the growing fear, as if something was chasing them. On the way out, they heard a faint sound like hoarse laughter that disappeared among the sounds of the night wind. When they finally reached safety, they could only remain silent in fear, unable to explain what they had just experienced. To this day, their story is one of the many creepy tales that surround Griffith Park. Many believe that the park's curse is real, and that anyone who dares to challenge its limits will take home something unseen, a sense of dread that never goes away. Are you brave enough to test your mettle at Griffith Park at night? Hotel Cecil in downtown Los Angeles is known as a place of mystery and tragedy. Over the years, the hotel has witnessed many dark events, from mysterious deaths to unexplained supernatural activity. Claire, a young woman interested in the hotel's history, decides to stay there because of its affordability. However, her first night at the hotel soon turns into an experience she will never forget. She heard footsteps in the hallway throughout the night, though when she peeked out, the hallway seemed empty and silent. As she tried to close her eyes to sleep, Claire felt something tap her shoulder. With bated breath, she opened her eyes and looked into the corner of the room. There stood the shadowy figure of a woman with a pale face, hollow eyes, and wet hair that dripped water onto the floor. Claire wanted to scream, but her voice seemed strangled, unable to come out. The figure just stood still, staring at her with a blank stare that made Claire's blood freeze. Her whole body trembled until she finally closed her eyes and wished it was all a bad dream. In the morning, with her remaining courage, Claire searches for information about the room where she is staying. Her search leads her to a shocking fact. Decades ago, a woman was found tragically dead in that room. And to this day, the cause of her death remains a mystery. Claire feels connected to the creepy event, as if the woman's spirit has something to tell her. Not wanting to take any further risks, Claire checked out of the hotel without looking back. Claire's story is just one of the many creepy tales involving Hotel Cecil. The old building continues to lure thrill seekers and mystery hunters, but it also holds a dark energy that is hard to explain. Are you brave enough to stay there and uncover the secrets hidden within its dark walls? Or like Claire, will you choose to leave and never return? Mulholland Drive, a winding road in Los Angeles known for its stunning views, has a dark side that often haunts night passersby. One night, Tom, a taxi driver, receives a female passenger who asks him to take her to a hilltop address. The woman wore a long white dress, her face was pale, and her demeanor was so calm that it seemed strange. Despite feeling something was off, Tom continued his journey down the dark and deserted road. Throughout the journey, the woman was silent as she stared out of the window, as if lost in her own thoughts. When Tom tried to break the silence with a few questions, she only responded with a quiet nod without saying a word. Arriving at the mentioned address, Tom turned to the back seat to tell her the fare, but she was no longer there. The back seat was empty, the door never sounded opened, and the air inside the car was suddenly cold. The incident left Tom shaken. He immediately reported to the police in the hope of getting an explanation. However, the answer he was given sent chills down his spine. The police told him that the address had long been vacant, since a woman had died in a tragic accident on the road decades ago. Tom's description of his passenger matched the accident victim perfectly. Tom cringed at the thought that he had just dropped off an otherworldly passenger. Tom's story is just one of the many mysterious tales that take place on Mulholland Drive. The road, which looks beautiful during the day, holds dark secrets that only emerge on silent nights. Do you dare to drive through Mulholland Drive at night? Be careful, you may encounter passengers who never really existed.